Hello, friends. Welcome to Surviving Tomorrow, a podcast, newsletter, and publication about navigating life in an age of democratic destruction, ecological collapse, and economic irrelevance. Available for free on Substack, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Facebook, and YouTube. I am Jared Abrock. Every Sunday morning for several years, my friends and I used to gather at Lock Street Bakery on Lock Street in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. The bagels were amazing, literally handmade, boiled and fire-baked right before our eyes. Slathered with homemade cream cheese, smoked salmon, the works. Served by women in their 40s and 50s who we knew by name. Lock Street Bakery was a blue-collar institution in a rundown neighborhood, and for decades it faithfully served its equally faithful clientele. Lock Street Bakery was so good, in fact, that it started attracting other local businesses. A funky hair salon opened across the road. A butcher shop did the same. A bookshop. A florist. And then, one day, once all the signs suggested this neighborhood was about to pop, Starbucks moved into the neighborhood, and it was all downhill from there. Corporations can't create culture. Corporations aren't real. They're just legal fictions, anti-human institutions that live forever, have more rights than people, and exist solely to extract wealth from employees, suppliers, consumers, and taxpayers. Corporations can't and don't create culture because culture is natural, organic, biological, creative. It's why people use Airbnb / steal real family homes instead of staying in hotels. Marriott can't fake home. It's why all the top restaurants in the world aren't chains. Real human chefs surprise and delight patrons with new and living flavors. McDonald's and Starbucks, on the other hand, are continually innovating, but it all tastes roughly the same, because the bottom line goal isn't creative expression, it's profit. If you've ever been to a corporate, quote-unquote, community event, or witnessed a corporate-created, quote-unquote, grassroots campaign, you know exactly what I mean. Everything's a bit sanitized and clean and proper and nice and off. That's because corporations aren't relational. They're transactional. They can't give freely and creatively. They can't sacrifice. Their legal fiduciary reason for existence is to take. And human beings, real human beings, can smell it from a mile away. I call it the corporate colonization cycle. Because corporations can't create culture, they have to play succubus to a living host, hoovering resources out of a fledgling local ecosystem. To put it another way, corporations have to find real culture creators who are building meaningful neighborhoods and then slip in their stores to get in on the action before the culture creators get pushed out and move elsewhere. Unlike one-of-a-kind local businesses that keep 100% of their profits spinning in their local neighborhoods and attract outside money, multinational corporations do the exact opposite. They siphon money from local communities to faraway elite shareholders and make everywhere so similar and boring that it drives people away from once thriving pockets of real culture. In the case of Starbucks and hundreds of other multinational monster brands, they literally have teams of people who research up-and-coming areas to determine the best places to install their wealth-extracting hoses. The corporate colonization cycle happens all over the world. Ernest Hemingway shops at a bookstore, and suddenly Shakespeare & Co. is a lifeless global brand. A trunk maker named Louis Vuitton crafts high-quality bags. Now a hyper-capitalist billionaire leverages his name to buy out 70 competitor brands. Simone de Beauvoir and Jean-Paul Sartre chatted philosophy at a rundown cafe. Now Café de Flore is overrun by celebrities and narcissistic Instagrammers. 2 centuries ago, Vincent van Gogh used a certain sketchbook made out of moleskins, and in 1997, an Italian papermaker created an overpriced knockoff version that's now owned by a Belgian glass repair company. The corporate colonization cycle is simple and heartbreaking. People create culture, and then corporations kill culture. After Starbucks moved to Lock Street, everything changed. House prices tripled, driving out the working poor. Antique shops bloomed like mold on week-old bread. Airbnbs popped up like brain tumors. The streets got cleaner, safer, more sanitized. Surveillance cameras showed up in shop windows. Pretty soon, crowds of aging female shoppers arrived, all looking to be part of this exciting new neighborhood. Little did the tourists know, as they ordered their flat whites at the nearby Starbucks, that Lock Street had already died. All the real culture creators had moved on to James Street and Ottawa Street and Cannon Street. And, after serving as the neighborhood's beating heart and soul for decades, Lock Street Bakery closed too. It got bought out by a capitalist couple who moved the bakery to a lifeless warehouse in the suburbs and tried to make Lock Street Bakery a brand to sell in stores. All those sweet bagel-serving women were fired. I miss you, Sue. When the capitalists eventually realized that no one was interested in their frozen bagels, they turned the former storefront into a lifeless vegan cafe staffed with "Why are you even talking to me" millennials. Ironically, they called the restaurant Democracy. Thanks for listening to Surviving Tomorrow. Please share this episode by email and social media so we can grow our community of resistors. We are listener supported, so if you'd like to get involved, please visit jaredbrock.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.